I am very pissed with Yostar. This video is not going to be bad-mouthing them with no basis. We as players all together can see the crap that they are doing, and it's been really bad for just this year alone. This video is going to cover 6 of the major screw-ups that happened within the time span of just 5 months. And I held back on discussing them, but with all of them coming in at the same time, we have to talk about it. If you come from other gacha games, hi, this video is going to be some spicy tea for you. But trust me, Arknights is a very good game. Our publisher, on the other hand, is just very bad at their job. Now, for all my gacha gamers, you would know that banner dates are very important. You want to know what is the start date of a banner, what is the end date of a banner. Now, imagine that you have a collab event. So, in the case of Arknights, we had a collab event with the anime that is Dungeon Meshi. And this was a 2 weeks long banner. Now, within the game itself, there is an end date, but the end date is 1 day later than what it should be. So, the situation this ends up creating is for people who trust what they see within the game, and if there are people who's trying to hold on to their pools and they do it within the last day, maybe because they can still get some extra pools before the banner ends, you would imagine how devastated they were to find out that apparently they couldn't do the banner anymore, only because it was a wrong date that was placed in game. And when these players were to ask Yostar why did you put the wrong date in game, Yostar's comments will just refer to the in-game announcement. That doesn't sound right. The big problem with this banner having an incorrect date is that there is a very big chance it will not rerun because it's a collaboration with an anime. It's not a character that you can get anytime in the future. So this is actually a fucking huge problem. So this Dungeon Meshi banner happened in the middle of March, and now we come to the recent event, which is a limited event. It featured Lapland Alter, a very hyped character. And on the first day when the event launched, there was yet another big thing that should not happen within the game. That is, the store of the game got glitched out. So there were people who were trying to buy event packs because people normally do that, right? Event launches were hyped for it, we start buying the things that we want. And for some reason, certain people cannot get their purchase to go through, and then people start to try to rebuy the items, and then they get double, triple, quadruple charged for the item, and the item products don't even come into their game. Of course, this gets fixed after some time, where the item do end up in their account, but for the extra charges, they have to go and contact Yostar. Some people had hassle in terms of getting their money back, where certain refunds were maybe fast, while other people really had to helter-skelter to get their money back. It is especially the job of a publisher to make sure that things involving money doesn't go wrong, and yet it had to happen on one of our most biggest important events. I'm editing this video in the day, and I just remembered something. The prices of packs in this game are not consistent. I've only just recently discovered this. If you're someone who uses an Apple device and you're also playing on an emulator, which is likely to run by Google Play, go and check the prices of the various packs in the game. You will realize that it's never the same. Sometimes the packs are cheaper within the App Store, while other times it's cheaper within the Google Play Store, and it's still running the same currency as your own country, which I didn't quite understand why that was the case, because Google Play and App Store do have the same extra increased charge of 30%. So I can understand that, it's more expensive than the USD price that you see there, but why is it that the packs don't have the same price? That's actually not the big problem, because, there might be actual rates that I do not know about the two different stores. But within the App Store itself, there is a 26 USD pack, and there is also a 30 USD pack. These two packs are obviously different prices. Why is it that when I click on both of them, I get the same exact price for each of them? So this made the 30 USD pack cheaper, which you can say, well, that's a win. But it also made the 26 USD pack more expensive. And there is a chance that there's people who don't buy the 30 USD, they're buying the 26 USD. So if they're getting upcharged, is that not considered like scamming them? I don't see how there can be a good explanation for this, just because it literally has a different price tag. It should not amount to the same cost. So something must be wrong there. Then, new problem. We've got a brand new event that just released at around the time of this video, and it's a limited time new game mode as well as a brand new banner. And the event did not load up when it was supposed to start. There is a start time to the event, there was nothing on the screen, and then I think Yostar figured out that it was missing, and they tried to scramble and I guess find the game files and try to inject it in, But that resulted in the server needing to be closed for 2 hours, and there is no official announcement within their social media. The only way that they announced it was through their official Discord, which is very strange in terms of management, where shouldn't you be alerting all of your player base that, hey, we need to do like an emergency maintenance because of this situation? Because a lot of players who are logging in at that time are definitely freaking out. They're thinking, is something wrong with my account? Why can't I log in at the moment? These people are just trying to log in normally to play the game, and yet they can't. Next one makes me very sad as a person who really loves this game, which is voices and translation. This game has a lot of languages. We've got English voice lines, Chinese, Korean, Japanese, German, Russian, Italian. And voices are very special towards us. We really love the fact that we can choose voice for every single character and we can read their beautiful voice lines. On the day of our anniversary this year, we were supposed to get anniversary voice lines for every single character within the game. And we're supposed to get their voices as well as the messages that comes together with these characters. And there were two different issues. One, these voice lines were not translated. They were still left in Chinese. So every single character still have their voice lines in Chinese. Secondly, if you set the voices to say the English language, we don't get the English voice lines. We just get a silent character. So it's only available if you set it in JP and CN. But the English voice line is just empty, which is honestly just very sad. You can't read the voices, you can't even hear the voices. How is that an anniversary? Missing translations, mistranslations, all happening throughout the time span of this year. We had furniture items still written in Chinese. We had in-game items that were having the wrong interpretation, so that screws up our own selves when we are trying to understand how it actually works. And then the story having flashback conversations, but the flashback not even having the same lines as the conversation that you heard of before. We also have special skins within the game, which these are the 24 Original Prime skins. You can buy skins within this game purely with the currency that you get in the game. You don't have to spend money as long as you get those currency well. And those skins are very special to us. So when you get those skins, you also get extra story about that character as well as voices. And again, the English voices for these characters were missing. Yostar claims that it's because of the strike. But according to some of the voice actors, which someone actually pinged one of the voice actor and asked, hey, why are you not within this voice? All she said was she's not even invited to even voice it, which there's a bit of a contradiction if you see to it. That is like, on one hand they can say it's because of strike that it didn't happen, but if the actress is very eager, there's definitely ways to go around it in order to allow someone who's enthusiastic to do it to get into the game. Let me clarify by saying, I don't mean workaround as in get past the strike. The strike exists, yes, there are VAs that are upset with how companies are treating them, but as far as I understand, Arknights is definitely not involved in that picture. So I'm also implying that it feels like the strike is being used as a convenient excuse for them actually maybe forgetting to do important work, that is to get our voice lines in the game. I'm about to move on to the biggest problem, but there was some other stuff that I didn't quite elaborately describe. Like for instance, why our new operation promotion material always so bad in the past few months? It only recently got fixed. But this promotion material issue did not exist in Japan. It is only the EN server where we get this really awful looking template design. Maybe they fired their designer or something and then they had someone else to do it, but it's really bad for marketing reasons. And during the Pototori event, which is the new limited event of Lapland Outer, we also had very little views on the trailer of the event. Let me also just explain. We have very little views not because people aren't watching it. That trailer got re-uploaded one day later. So the old trailer got deleted and it had to be re-uploaded because Yostar Ian forgot to change the medals of the event. The medals of this event got into a copyright issue where the guy who drew it was referencing a renowned artist, so it's straight up plagiarism, and CN had to change it. But Ian took the old CN trailer and used it, and that's why they got into trouble for representing it again. And they had to change the medals and re-upload the video. So with little views, what does that mean? Bad advertising again. You're supposed to be the company to promote to people to say, hey, come into Arknights and play the game, and yet they did that. One last thing. This new limited event was supposed to come with a big quality of life change, which is banner pool history. Don't ask me why we added it so late and into year 5 of AK, but we're supposed to get it. It would have helped us to be counting pity, know what we've pooped for, but it doesn't exist within our game right now. Why? I don't know. Freaking add it. Now the huge problem that I have, which is account migration. Recently, I've made a video teaching people how to recover their accounts. In the first place, why am I making a video like that? Why are people losing their accounts? For the past 5 years in the game, people can play the game by logging into Apple, Facebook, Yostar, so you can bind your account to a proper Yostar database, and Twitter, which Twitter got taken down. We understand why. Twitter's a little bit of a feud, but basically we were left with 3 options: Facebook, Apple, and that. So the thing is, in the back end of last year, there is a new instruction in-game and on social media telling people to bind their account to this brand new Yostar site. Even if you're bound to Yostar before, you still need to perform the action again, do a new rebind into this new space. We weren't really told exactly why it had to happen. Maybe company policy, they can't really tell. So it could be things like, oh, they are migrating their databases into a new state of US or a new country for all we know. And maybe that's why they need to do it. You know, something like that has happened before in Microsoft, for instance. Another claimed reason by some people on the internet is saying that they're doing this new account center in order to merge their Yostar games together. So things like Azure Lane and Arknights. So they want a space for people to have all their accounts centralized. But there is also a lot of Arknights players who don't freaking play Azure Lane. So why do we need to perform this action? Is it that important for them? Whatever it is though, let's just assume that it is a requirement that yes, they need to force every single player to move into this new space. One of the big key business objective of a company is to not lose your freaking customers, meaning don't have your customers drop out of your business because they are important to you. More players within the space means you generate more money, maybe these people are spending more money in the game. That simply means that if you need all the players to perform this bind, you should take every action possible to ensure that every single person that plays this game are aware they need to perform this action so as to not run the risk that they lose their account. Let me explain what are some of the fatal mistakes. Number one, they did have a pop-up window whenever you log into the game telling you to bind your account, which is good. But why do you give people the option to close that tab of binding the account? The problem with giving people the option to close is that it is assumed that you can ignore this particular window because you don't want to do it, right? You already bounded your account to Apple and Facebook. Why is it a must to bind it to Yostar? And some people might not take the time to read because again, you gave the option to close, so it doesn't seem important. I also want to reiterate that the wording on this binding pop-up doesn't indicate that you must bind. Instead, it just says the reason of doing this is to play other Yostar titles, which I am also saying once again, not all of us play every single Yostar game. Of course, we can put the blame onto the users for ignoring a window when it keeps annoyingly popping up every single day, but that is assuming that they are a regular player. There's a lot of people who are very casual in the game, they don't log in as often, maybe they only tune in when there are important events, so they don't really see the importance of a window popping up when there's an X button, or like you can just close it. So that is the first error, which is for people who actively play the game. Again, if binding is a requirement in order to make sure they stay as a player, you should not allow the option to close the tab at all. The pop-up is great, but it's not enough if you don't force it onto the player. Secondly, there are people who haven't been playing the game. They haven't been playing the game for 1 year, 2 years, and this whole new setup thing only appeared again within the back end of last year. So as I see a lot of the comments within my recovery video, there's a lot of people who's saying, hey, I'm returning to the game, I'm very hyped for the event. I can't get my account back because I don't even know what's going on. These people are not logging into the game, so they missed the in-game announcement, and it's not like they are obliged to follow their social media in order to see that this is going on. The next question I kind of have is for people who have already bound to Yostar, meaning they have an email address. Why didn't Yostar choose to send a notification to these people into their email to let them know, hey, your Arknights account needs to be preserved, please bind your account right now? There is no proper reminder in order to help these people to retain their account. And finally, there is a big confusion for people who have bound their account to Yostar before, because this is a migration of an account center, but it's still under the same name of Yostar. So people would have done it earlier and they didn't know they have to redo it again. So when the whole migration started to happen, people who have already bound to Yostar logs into the game and then sees a level 1 account, meaning they just set up a new account and they're sitting there very confused. When they need to do the whole binding process, they realize that they created a brand new Yostar account with this email, but then the same email was used in their previous account. What the frick is going on? How do you actually bind this in a proper manner? There is a freaking huge painful process to this entire thing. And it's already great that people can still recover their account. There is ways to recover your account. You can watch the recovery video if you haven't done so. But if our accounts are still sitting there, allowing for us to use and play, for what truthful, important reason must we perform this migration? Because it's not deleting the old accounts. Every single old account are still available. If you want to recover, you can do so, meaning whatever database they're using before still remains. Then now what? They're running two database, old database in order to save anybody who still has old accounts, new database for what now? I want to have good faith to say that the migration actually has a good reason behind it. But even if it does have a good reason, the procedure in order to carry it out was just so bad that you already ran the risk that a good thousand, I don't know how many thousands of players are trying to log into the game and they can't find their account. You know what's even worse about that? The fucking customer service. I've had a lot of people who surfaced within my video that they contacted Yostar customer support about their lost account, and Yostar ran certain steps, and then afterwards, you know, they still ran into problems. They couldn't get their account to get set up. And Yostar just gives up and say, oh, I'm so sorry, we can't help you. And then these people then come into my video, try to loyally follow my steps, and actually finally recover their account. Yostar are giving up on the people who lost their accounts. Can you believe that? It is their literal job to literally do whatever that it takes in order to retain their customer. And one, of course, you screwed up the process of not forcefully making everybody bind or reminding people to do it well enough. And then now when you have a whole pool of people that are struggling, you're just saying, oh, you know what, it's fine. Bro, you're losing customers! I have other things that I could be talking about, like their treatment towards content creators or their lackluster advertising. But I'm just going to stop right over here. If you yourself are Yostar watching this, let me just send you a very clear-cut message. I'm not here to just put you in a bad light. The reason I'm making this video is I love Arknights. I love it so much that I hate to see that the reason why we're feeling shit is because of bad management. You are the publisher, and while you are still the publisher, it is your job. The problems that we've all stated are not things that we can just slip by as players. These are things that are important to us. We want our game to feel good. We want our voices. We want the correct translations. We don't want fuck-ups where our accounts are being lost, our money is being hassled with. All that I ask of Yostar is just to do the bare minimum. Give us a smooth game. I can take that you don't advertise our game well. I can take that you don't give us special on-site or off-site events. Just give us a functional game. That's all that I need. That is going to be a message for this video. I think a lot of you might have things that you want to say down in the comments, so go writing. I'm pretty certain if Yostar's watching this, they'll be reading the comments as well. Let's see how this plays out. Take care, y'all. Bye-bye.